Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Drive Pink Dialogue. We are about 10 seconds since Inter Miami's 4-3 defeat to FC Dallas in what ended up being a come-from-behind game in which Inter Miami led 3-1 and ultimately fall 4-3. I can't imagine an interlude game like this where we have a more important game coming up this Wednesday and a big game last week that this game could have had more things to talk about, more exciting moments, more disappointment. Really an emotional game from a lot of different perspectives. And so, even though I'm definitely too sick to be doing this right now, I will. I feel like I have to talk about some of these things. So, welcome to the Raw Reaction. This is all about your emotion, how you felt about the game, what were you excited about, what were you disappointed about, and we'll just kind of get into it. But mostly this is driven by you guys, so please get in the chat and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. First, I want to start with Ian Frey. I mean, that first half was incredible. He was the best player on the pitch. He has to start on Wednesday night. I don't think he will, and I think that's an absolute shame because he is the best right back on this team. And in a game where you're going to have to score goals on Wednesday, he is clearly the most dangerous right back. And by taking him off for a Cello Wiegand or a Gonzalo Lujan, you are making your team less dangerous, less offensively capable. And that is inexcusable when you have a game on Wednesday night where you have to score multiple goals. Kremaski was given a huge responsibility in this game by Javier Mascherano, puts him at the number 10, gives him set pieces, gives him corners. I thought in the first half he was only okay. I thought he built into it. I thought he had some really nice moments where he bodied guys off the ball, created a few chances. I want to rewatch the game before I really judge his performance, but I thought it was interesting that Javier Mascherano put the game on his shoulders, and ultimately, for the first 68 minutes, we are winning that game. On the other side, I thought almost every one of Javier Mascherano's substitutions really hurt Inter Miami. So that's tough. That's really tough. And I will go through those one by one when we get to it. And then ultimately, Inter Miami gives up a couple goals late. I think both the third and fourth goal. I'm going to put the blame on Gonzalo Lujan. I will rewatch them. But as I've been saying this over and over, he gets caught out for space. He doesn't position himself well. And he got beat for it twice in this game that cost us not just 3 points, but even just 1 point. And the truth is, I've seen him do those same exact things against Columbus and against LAFC and get caught out in ways that should have cost us the game. And they didn't, and we got away with it, and that was fine, but it did bite us in this game. Maxi Falcone kind of gets bodied off by Hogide for the second goal for FC Dallas. Tough goal, but we talked about in the pregame show, he's a good player. That's just one of those goals that happens. That first goal, pretty frustrating, but I thought the team bounced back from it. Alan Obando gets his first goal, and that was sort of swept up in Inter Miami, feeling like they were dominating this game between that first goal and really like the 60th minute. It felt like it was all Inter Miami. David Martinez with a really nice goal on a play that would have been a penalty for Benjamin Kremaski. I thought there was a penalty on Fafa Bicot that went uncalled around the 50th minute. I thought that was an obvious penalty, and it's shocking to me that VAR didn't really go back and look at it more closely, because I thought that was a clear penalty. And then I thought all the substitutes made the team worse. I don't think it's a surprise that you take off Yannick Bright and 5 minutes later you give up a goal in defensive transition. I don't think that it's a surprise that you take off Alan Obando and you make Tadeo Allende be the striker in a position he hasn't played under Javier Mascherano all season, and he's not able to be effective. You take off Leo Alfonso, you put on Federico Redondo, and you go to a 5-3-2, and you take off the initiative, you take off your foot off the gas, and immediately Dallas responds with another goal. 64th minute, they change to a defensive formation with 25 minutes left. That's too early in a game that you are very comfortably winning. Dallas gets the second goal in the 64th minute, and Mascherano immediately responds with 2 subs, changing to a 5-3-2, a more defensive formation, to try and hold a 1-goal lead. There was no need for that. There was no momentum from Dallas. They did not look like they were going to come back and win this game at that point. And you invited them, you gave them the ball, and they did. And you were the one who changed the game for the negative, I thought. So I thought that was a poor decision. Let's see who else played. Leo Alfonso came off too early. You took Leo Alfonso off and you put on, well, he ends up being replaced by Segovia when the second substitutions come on and you get less athletic. I thought that was a mistake because Alfonso does provide you the most pace. So even if you are going to play a more defensive style, keeping Alfonso on, I think, is the right decision because he's one of the best players in transition. He's possibly the fastest player on this team. So I thought that was disappointing. Again, I just thought every substitution we made the team worse and made us less likely to win. I can understand why he made them in the moment, but I think they all backfired. Okay. Those are my initial thoughts. I'll be honest, though, on the whole, I am relatively pleased with this game. I thought the quote-unquote backup showed a lot, and I think they earned some trust. And it's disappointing that we end up losing in a game that I thought, for the most part, we played really well in, and some of the worst performances came from the starters off the bench, with the exception of Gonzalo Lujan. Okay, let's get to the chat. Natalia says Mascherano will probably not start Frey again in Wednesday's game. At this point, we can pin down this performance slump to ineffective coaching. We're going to have that conversation if Wednesday night doesn't go our way. I still think Inter Miami is more than capable of winning on Wednesday night. I absolutely believe that. But if it's not, we're going to look back at coaching decisions that have cost this team in ways that this team shouldn't be in that position. They have too much talent. They have too much depth. You saw this team today came out, looked like the better team for 60 minutes, and then the substitutes came on and they looked worse. And part of the reason is those substitutes have been run into the ground, so they're not ready to come on and make a big impact. I think when you look at rotation, what Mascherano did with the center backs over the last 4 games is or the last 3 games, and then projecting forward to the next game. You gave Maxi Falcone a rest last weekend. You gave Noah Allen a rest this weekend. And over the course of those 4 games, you got your 2 center backs a game off without compromising, I think, the integrity of your back line. I thought that was that's how you should be doing it. I guess in this instance, they did compromise the integrity of their back line, but I don't think that had anything to do with Lujan, with Falcone or Noah Allen. Lamar says is frustrated. Josue says, outside of the sun being a factor, this game was super sloppy. A lot of Miami passes looked horrible and bounces and were inaccurate. Miami continues to be its own worst enemy during games. I thought they did more than enough to win. And for a team that was playing guys that haven't played a ton of soccer, Alan Obando, Leo Alfonso, Ian Frey, David Martinez, Toto Avila's out of position, Benjamin Kramaski in a different position. These are guys that have played almost no minutes this season, a few minutes, and certainly not in recent games. And for Kramaski, not at that position. It's not a surprise that they're a little rusty, but again, you see the talent. They were able to, I thought, clearly be the better team for 60 minutes. And it's disappointing they didn't go that way. It didn't go our way. Missiano says, I fear Masche will never trust the bench players now. This is beyond sad. I think it was the starters that cost them this game. I really do. I thought Redondo did not make the midfield better. I thought taking Yannick Bright off was a mistake. I thought putting Talasco Segovia on, he didn't look good. And I thought Allende didn't look good. So I'm going to, I will rewatch the game for tomorrow's breakdown, and I will, and me and Sora will talk about what the coaching decisions and how they impacted this game. I will add, Sora's going to be back tomorrow. His flight is landing. He's coming back tonight, so it'll just be a matter of him getting a chance to watch the game. But Sora will be back tomorrow for the post-game recap. Miami King says, Frey won't play Wednesday's game. Mascherano. It's Mascherano. Sean says, Bright and Frey won't start midweek, and we will lose. Excuse me for coughing. I'm a little sick still. I think that's right, and it's really sad because they are clearly the better players. I didn't even think Yannick Bright had a good first half. I thought he was much better in the second half. But he comes off the field, and they scored the winner on a transition opportunity that he would have stopped. Like, it's so clear. And that's not a shot. It's like not saying anything bad about Cello. It's not saying anything bad about Federico Redondo. They're fine players, but you have better players. And if you're losing games because of it, it's just so frustrating, especially the big games, right? I think it'll be easy for us to overlook this game if we can get the result on Wednesday. But what we saw last Thursday, what we've seen in previous big games, for them to not play their best players, it's incredibly disheartening. Livy says Frey earns the spot for sure. I don't think he's going to get it. Single Tube says, I'm fine with this game. We showed we can score from the wings. Obando can score, and we need Frey. I think this is how I'm viewing this, is that I was okay with losing this game. I think it's frustrating that we kind of gave it up at the end, and I think it was very preventable. I thought some rookie mistakes from a rookie coach cost us this game. But I think we saw a lot of positives, and for a game that's sort of an interlude to the bigger series that we're a part of with Vancouver, I thought we saw a lot of fun, interesting things that we can look forward to moving forward. And hopefully the coaching staff has built some trust in these players after this performance. Like, I don't think this was a bad performance for the guys that played today from the start, other than Gonzalo Lujan. Gabriella says going to a back five ruined this game. I agree. We were the better team for 60 minutes. We were up 3-1. Dallas scores a goal on a set piece, not like they were dominating the run of play. It wasn't like they were controlling momentum at this point. They score a goal in the 64th minute, and Mascherano, before the ball even switches over, brings on two subs. He brings on Noah Allen and Federico Redondo. He takes off Leo Alfonso and Maxi Falcone, switches to a back five, and Inter Miami never regains the initiative, and they gave up control of the game for no reason. And that's in the 65th minute. That's too early. If you want to make that choice in the 85th minute, I'm okay with it. 65th minute is too early. Sorry, again, I got too many coughs. I can get a cough drop going. Giovanni says, I feel this team has no identity anymore. It's been gutted without Messi on the field. There's no direction or leadership. That is not my takeaway from this game at all. If that's how you feel, that's fine, but I didn't feel that way. Miami King says, second half, we are another team. I thought when we brought on some of the starters, Federico Redondo, Telasco Segovia, and Tadeo Allende, we got worse. And not, I don't want to just blame them. Kramaski was exhausted by the end. Pico looked pretty tired. Ian Frey looked exhausted by the end. So, you can understand that it was hard to go like that for 90 minutes, but I thought our team was much worse in the last 30 minutes because our starters had gotten tired and the substitutes didn't provide fresh legs. They didn't provide athleticism, and I didn't think they performed particularly well. So I'm glad Messi and Suarez and Jordi Alba and Busquets were able to get the full 90 minutes off. Hopefully that gives them a little bit of energy going into next game on Wednesday night. Diego says, what happened? Why did they lose the game by 3? I think the simple tagline is we gave up 1 goal, and Javier Mascherano made every wrong decision from that point on. JR says Obando for Suarez immediately Wednesday night, please. I did see something. I want to say it was the Heron Heads, but I apologize. Someone tweeted out that Suarez hasn't scored in his last 720 minutes, and Obando scored after 23. It's going to be Suarez on Wednesday, so I don't even know if I need to. I don't even know if I need to talk about it anymore. Josue says Crema's not meant for free kicks and corners. Very bad. I agree. We talked about this in the pregame show. Who's going to take corners? I said it might be David Martinez. It was Kramaski, and clearly Javier Mascherano. And I'm not blaming him for this. He wanted to empower Kramaski to be the difference maker in this game. I appreciate that. He's a young player. He's a guy that has real skill. And so he was taking corners. He was taking set pieces. He was the number 10. And it was okay. It was obviously a downgrade from Lionel Messi and even from Telasco Segovia, his early performances in the number 10. But I think it was fine for Kramaski, a guy who hasn't played that position in a while. And I appreciate Javier Mascherano empowering him to do that. I do think next time that's probably not what we're going to see. The Devon Knit says, despite how good Frey was, he can't go 90 on Wednesday. Was gas at the end of this one. Could argue Wagon should have gone tonight and Frey Wednesday, but it is what it is. I said on Twitter that they should put Chelo Wigan in at halftime. I said they should have put Chelo Wigan in at halftime. He is they're going to use this as an excuse to not play Frey on Wednesday night, and that's really sad. He was exhausted by the end, but Frey is a difference maker, and Cello's not. When you're talking about the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinal, second leg, when you need goals, it has to be in Frey, and it's not going to be, and that's really, really sad. Wookie says, what a weird game. No reason to back off and play with back five in the back that when they were up. Just keep pushing forward for God's sake. Agree. Bizret said Mascherano got out-coached. Dallas subs flipped the game. Ace says Obando was pretty lively. I really liked Obando's performance. I think he brings something. I think his first I don't know how much longer I can go with all these coughing. I thought Obando brought something. His first performance against Toronto, I think it was highlighted by the fact that he missed the one opportunity he was really given. This was much more impressive. He can body guys off, can hold the ball up a little bit, and he can get at the end of balls on crosses. This team was much more willing to cross in this game. I think it was a good performance. I'm looking forward to watching the game back and paying a little bit more attention to him. Tony says the team fizzled out once the regular starters came on the field. I agree. Brad says Kermaski was playing good, but damn, we could have scored more goals if he just passed the damn ball. Was he trying to take on players every time? I think Kermaski had a chance to be a difference maker in this game. I think Mascherano empowered him to do that, but it didn't happen. I thought he had some nice moments, but if you're going to ask Kermaski to be the guy for this team, like, you're not a supporter shield winning team if Kermaski's going to be the guy for you. But in a rotation game, I'm okay with him getting the opportunity. Miami King says Mascherano has no idea how to adjust the game after Dallas's change. I agree. I thought he made really poor changes. Francisco says Mascherano was lost. He wastes more time fighting with the referees than managing the game. Hashtag I miss Tata. You know, the one thing about this I will say is Mascherano is a young coach, and hopefully he learns from this and improves and continues to grow. And that wasn't going to happen with Tata. So I think that is still a nice sort of thought in the back of my mind. Hopefully it turns out to be reality. Giovanni says, I really liked how Obando played. He needs to be more aggressive, though. I agree, but remember, this is his first time really getting a chance to start. I don't care if Frey and Bright don't start on Wednesday. The coach is officially Fraudorano. Ace says blowing a 3-goal lead was nuts. It was only a 2-goal lead, but yeah. And I think if we go back and watch goal 3 and 4, I think Gonzalo Lujan probably deserves a lot of the blame. But just the fact that we made the substitutions we made, the formation changes we made at the time we made, I thought was just really bad. Brad says, even though we lost the game, the press was actually really good. That was one thing I did want to talk about, because for the first 60 minutes of this game, it felt lively and energetic. And you want your subs to come on and replace that so that and rejuvenate the team. And it felt like the opposite happened, which was pretty disappointing. But they did. They looked athletic. They looked good. They looked rangy. They looked like they were getting to second balls. All of those things that we haven't seen much lately. And I think it's easy to contribute to exhaustion and overuse. We saw in this game, and it was really nice and helped us build a 3-1 lead. Like, I mean this truly, like, our backups just outplayed Dallas for the majority of this game. Ian says we have to start taking more shots when we get into the box. This is so frustrating. I think that's probably true. I don't think we got enough shots out for how many times we took the ball into the final third. Only 12 total shots, 5 big chances, though. I think when you get the ball into the box, you got to try and come out with an opportunity on goal much more frequently than we do. Rob says, even with the Noah Allen praise, not a good defender at all. Check the stats. He's the highest goal scoring rate when he's on the pitch. Okay, I will check it out later for tomorrow's episode. Mommy King says, with right side attacks, we are dangerous, though. This is one of the hardest things that Inter Miami has made it for itself over the last 2.5 years or 2 years since Messi arrived. It's creating offense from the right side when Messi comes centrally. And Ian Frey just provides that just naturally. And so that's what blows my mind when he's not out there. And nobody else does it like him. Natalia says Aviles looks lost. I actually thought he was fine for playing a different position. I thought he played pretty well, actually. Oneness Review says, because of Luis Suarez, we lost today. The worst player I've ever seen in MLS history. Okay. Okay, guys. I think Bizrat says Lujan was burned a lot. I think one of the bigger takeaways I have from this is that Lujan has to be number 5 on the depth chart. He has gotten so many opportunities lately, and I feel like every single game he's gotten beat for pace and just got caught out of position and been burned. And he got lucky in 3 straight games. Against LAFC from Denny Bouanga, he got really lucky. Against Chicago, he got really lucky. And against Columbus, I thought he got really lucky. And in this game, he didn't get lucky. And we lost because of it. I'm really worried about Gonzalo Lujan. I think he's gotten too many opportunities, and I think this type of performance and giving up goals like that has been in every single performance he's had, probably all season. Rock says, you say we have too much depth, but today I felt Dallas had a better overall squad. Miami having depth is a myth. Well, my response to that is that we didn't play Lionel Messi, Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, or Luis Suarez. So you can take all 15 players that played today, or Oscar Scotty. You can take all 15 players and against their 15 players, and then add the fact that we have 4 global superstars on top of what we have. So the fact that we took our B team and we played Dallas toe to toe, I think is actually proof that we have really good depth. Angel says this loss was not on Drake. I agree. I feel so bad for Drake because he's going to come away with 4 goals and the stats aren't going to look good. But I thought he did everything he was supposed to do. WrestleMedia says Miami having better coaching is a myth. We can start having that conversation now. I was so impressed with Mascherano over the first 2 months of the season, and we talked about it. And I keep saying this, but it was the Houston Dynamo game 2 of the MLS season, where I said we need to start rotating more. This was, I thought, his worst in-game management game, and it's been downhill, I think, of late. And I think the scary thing is it's he doesn't know how to fix it because he's a young coach, which is understandable, but also this isn't the team you want to have a young coach with. So this was always a possibility. Wookie says this loss is on Mascherano's terrible game management. So frustrating. This could have been a win. Circus Fun says never thought I'd say this, but we missed Cello. If you miss Cello over Gonzalo Lujan, I'm right there with you, man. I think Cello Wigan would be a better center back than Lujan, but as a right back, you're crazy. Sorry, I disagree with you. Ian says Miami was not playing with urgency after we were up 2 goals and was not pressing. That's fair. Mistiano, sore ripping into Suarez. I will be there. Yeah. Hopefully he's going to be back tomorrow. Okay, guys, I'm just dying here. I'm so sick and I'm coughing up a storm. Nick Smith says Lujan is a Spanish Kristoff. I've been saying this for a month now, and every time I say that, people are like, "That's rude to say," but I think he might be worse than Kristoff, if I'm being honest with you, and equally athletic. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get to the rest of the chat. I'm dying, so I'm gonna stop it there. But I wanted to give you guys something. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. Soar is flying back into the States tonight, and he'll get a chance to watch the game tonight, and we will break it down in more depth tomorrow. But until then, have a wonderful, wonderful night. And unfortunately, we didn't get the win, but there are it's time to prepare for Wednesday. Let's just leave it at that before I actually die on camera. See you guys next time. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Since our first viewer, sharing this with you all has been the very best part. So from the beginning until the end, thank you for being a part of this and have a wonderful day.